All right, guys. So now I'm going to show you how to make your data assets for your character, for your bow, or your item, or whatever. So we'll start off by making the item char data, PDA. And I'm just going to browse to this one, and then I'm going to create a folder under here called bow. And you'll see that this is a PDA item char data. So you can copy and paste that, or you can just go over here to miscellaneous and select data asset and type in PDA underscore. And these are all the other types of primary data assets within this. So a primary data asset, basically, it dictates like what the variables and what kind of information it holds. And then the data asset itself is just a derivative of a primary data asset, but you can't add or change the variable types or the data that it stores. You can only assign the data. So for the bow, I'm just going to actually use the rifle one, because as far as the rifle goes, it's just dictating the poses and how the poses are selected. So that's the only difference here. So this one has a ready idle pose and a ready moving pose, where as we start moving, it blends out of the idle, ready, and into this one. So that's the only difference right here. And then we have other ones like the pistol. It's set up a little bit differently. It's only got a ready and an aiming as well, but things are treated a little bit differently on here because this can be dual welded. And so I treat it a little bit differently. So we're just going to reuse that rifle one for the bow. So I'll assign that linked anim layer class to this bow's primary data asset, or I should say data asset. It's not a primary. For now, we are not going to fill out these montages right here, but I'll leave those like that. Requires free hand? Yes, we do need a free hand because it's a two-handed weapon. We're not going to be, say, holding a flashlight or a torch while we hold the bow and aim it and fire it, so we also need a linked anim set here. So this is going to be a left-handed. We're only going to have an anim set for the left hand. And so what I'll do is I'll come over to this one here and I'll just browse to this. And under guns, I'll make a new one. I'll call it bow. Linked anim set. And we just need another data asset. This one's a primary data asset linked anim set, so we can just do the same thing here. Go to miscellaneous, data asset, PDA, and you'll see linked anim set. This would actually let me just do this a little bit differently. So we'll assign that. Now the poses, we're going to have to make the poses, so we'll leave that blank for now. We'll come back to that here in a minute. Well, in the next video, we're going to make the poses, and then we're going to come back and assign them. So what we do need, though, is we need overlay layering settings. And normally you could just reuse the ones that you've made for the other items. For example, if I have a two-handed item and and the two-handed item is primarily held in the left hand, then I could share I could share those settings with the bow, but I don't have anything like that right now. I only have a right-handed two-handed weapon, and so because of that, we're going to have to make our own settings here. So I'll kind of show you what I mean, why there's a distinction here. Because whenever I'm layering this pistol pose, I've only got like a certain amount of stiffness in the right hand, and I'm really not layering much of the pose onto the left hand. So I am a little bit, but for the most part, I'm not really. It's just mostly the base animation that you're seeing, with just a little bit of layering happening. Now, if I come over here, you'll see that this one's it's the opposite of the other one. And then if I'm aiming, you'll see that my left arm is stiff, but my right arm is not. So, but if I have, say, a rifle, then I might, I'm going to need different settings. I'm not going to have the locomotion on the left hand or the right hand or both during the resting of the rifle, because they need to maintain hand contact with the rifle. Yeah, so anyway, some of these settings might change a little bit for the crouching state, depending on a few things, but we'll get to that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come back over here to the UEFN, and I'll just open up those ALS, and we'll just start with the standing for now. We're not going to do the crouching yet. We'll do that later. We need the poses. We need to make the poses first before we can actually modify and adjust these settings. So I'm going to create an overlay folder for the bow, and then I'm going to create a standing, and then this will be the ready. All right, and then these are just going to be PDA overlay layering. So since we're using the rifle, yeah, we're going to basically I'm just going to copy these over. We're obviously going to have to change the settings on them, but that's fine. I'm just going to search for PDA. Select all of these. Batch rename. Rifle and rename to bow. And there we go. And so now I need to assign these to the actual it looks like I already have entries for these. So for the idle, ready, I'll select those. I think this mic is like really sensitive because whenever I'm listening to it, I can actually hear the music, and I don't know where the music is coming from. Without my headphones on, I can't even hear the music. So I'm guessing it's coming from my neighbors. Okay, so now we need to assign the idle or the aiming ones. So the idle aiming. All right. And then that's all we're going to do for now. And then in the next video, we're going to make our poses. And then in the following video after that, we're going to come back and we're going to assign our poses and set up the settings. So I'll see you in the next video.